Hey guys, David here. Welcome to Digital Outlook, where you're going to find the best community in all of crypto. In today's video, we're talking the solution of the global liquidity crisis. So guys, without further ado, why don't we get to it? So guys, I thought I would tackle a subject that has major implications for all of our lives and especially the global financial system. And the fact of the matter is, most people aren't even aware of how much this is going to impact us all. And on top of that, don't even understand it. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the global liquidity crisis. And this is a major deal. Guys, I want to start off by going over a few headlines and articles, and then we're going to get into it a little further on. But just take a look at this article and the title right here. Guys, silent killer. Liquidity crisis will stalk global financial system in 2023. And they're highlighting right here, few people seem aware as a liquidity crisis offers few clearly visible symptoms until it begins to affect the internal organs of the financial system. It could be that the potential risks involved will not crystallize on a scale that threatens the financial system, but past crises offer little assurance. Guys, the reality is this. It's kind of like having, your house, infested with termites. You don't really know until you actually the walls start shaking and the whole thing comes tumbling down. The reality is this is eating the financial system from the inside out, and it's leading to a major catastrophic collapse of our current financial markets. Now, I want you to take a look at this article here. Now, this was written by James Rickards. Jim Rickards is one of the world's greatest and best well-known economists, and just take a look at and listen to what he says. We're on the cusp, and this was posted on January 3rd, 2023, on the cusp of a global liquidity crisis. And here's his point. Is there a financial calamity worse than a severe recession in early 2023? Unfortunately, the answer is yes, and it's coming quickly. The greater calamity is a global liquidity crisis. Now, before considering the dynamics of a global liquidity crisis, it's critical to distinguish between a liquidity crisis and a recession. A recession is part of a business cycle. It's characterized by higher unemployment, declining GDP growth, inventory liquidation, business failures, reduced discretionary spending by consumers, reduced business investment, higher savings rates for those who are still employed, larger loan losses, and declining asset prices in stocks and real estate. The length and depth of a recession can vary widely, and although recessions have certain common characteristics, they also have diverse causes. Sometimes the Federal Reserve blunders in monetary policy and holds interest rates too high for too long. That seems to be happening right now, actually. Sometimes an external supply shock occurs, which causes a recessionary reaction. This happened after the Arab oil embargo of 1973, which caused a severe recession from November of 1973 to March of 1975. Recessions can also cause when asset bubbles pop, such as the stock market crash in 1929 or the bursting of a real estate bubble caused by the savings and loans crisis in 1990. Now listen, whatever the cause, the course of a recession is somewhat standard. Eventually, asset prices bottoms with those with cash going shopping for bargains in stocks, inventory liquidations, and consumers resume some discretionary spending. These tentative steps eventually lead to a recovery and new expansion, often with the help of fiscal policy. Now, here's the difference. Global financial crises are entirely different. They emerge suddenly and unexpectedly to most market participants. Although there are always warning signs for those who know where to look, they usually become known to the public and regulators through the failure of major institutions, which could be a bank, hedge fund, money market fund, or commodity trader. While the initial failure makes headlines, the greater danger lies ahead in the form of contagion. Capital markets are densely connected. Banks lend to hedge funds. Hedge funds speculate in markets for stocks, bonds, currencies, and commodities, both directly and in derivative form. Money market funds buy government debt. Banks guarantee some instruments held by those funds. Primary dealers, big banks, underwrite government debt issues but finance those activities in repo markets where the purchased securities are pledged for more cash to buy more securities in long chains of rehypothecated collateral. You get the point. The linkages go on, and this is how it comes about. The Federal Reserve has printed $6 trillion as part of its monetary base, but the notional value of the derivatives of all banks in the world is estimated at 1 quadrillion. For those unfamiliar, 1 quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. This means the total value of derivatives is 167 times of all the money printed by the Fed. And the Fed money supply itself leveraged on a small sliver of only 60 billion of capital. So the Fed's balance sheet is leveraged, get this guys, 100 to 1. And the derivatives market is leveraged to 167 to 1 to the Fed money supply, which means the derivative market is leveraged 16,700 to 1 in terms of federal capital. And he's asking, are you nervous yet? Guys, this is a major, major deal. But the reality is most people are absolutely, completely unaware of the storm that's on the horizon and how we are backed into such a major corner of desperation. And he makes it very clear right here that that usually happens unexpectedly and instantly, and it can be devastating. Now, I want you to see just a few of these headlines right here to kind of reinforce the point. Liquidity management, a new challenge for banks, January 10th, 2023. Listen to this. Credit union regulator says liquidity risk is top priority for 2023. Now, let's take a look at what Investopedia says about a liquidity crisis to kind of nail it down in a more succinct thing. A liquidity crisis is a lack of short-term cash flow, and liquidity crisis is a financial situation characterized by a lack of cash or easily convertible to cash assets on hand across many businesses or financial institutions simultaneously. Look, it is like having an earthquake and all of a sudden, bang, it hits and the cracks are exposed and it can be catastrophic. In a liquidity crisis, liquidity problems at individual institutions lead to an acute increase in demand and decrease in supply of liquidity, and the resulting lack of available liquidity can lead to widespread defaults and even bankruptcies. And we're talking on a major, major level, not just, individuals like, retail investors and that type of thing. We're talking major institutions. We're talking big banks, global investment houses and the like, and it can happen very, very fast. Now, what I want to show you here is there is a solution, guys, and that solution is being represented and presented by Ripple and XRP, because where is some of the greatest level of liquidity if we needed to access it and change the financial system in such a way to save ourselves from a total implosion like this? Well, guys, it has to do with Nostro Vostro accounts. Now, I want to just give you a brief definition of what Nostro Vostro are. So Nostro account is an account that a bank holds with a foreign bank in the currency of the country where funds are held. So what is a Nostro account? A Nostro account is a bank account that holds funds with a foreign bank in the currency of the country where their funds are held. The term Nostro is Latin for the word which means ours and is used to facilitate foreign exchange and international trade transactions involving foreign currency. It is the opposite of the term Vostro, which is a Latin word for yours. So let's just take a look. and see what Vostro accounts. Well, a Vostro account is a bank account that other foreign banks hold with our bank in the domestic currency. Both types of accounts are used to differentiate between the different types of accounts that banks hold for other banks. Guys, the deal is this. There is so much liquidity. It is ridiculous. Trillions of dollars tied up in Nostro Vostro. And this is where you can see a major use case for Ripple and the XRP ledger and XRP. Now, I have a little video clip here from Chris Larson a couple years back where he is actually talking about this liquidity crisis that is on the way at that time. Well, we're in it right now, guys. We just haven't experience the full effects, but it's coming. When you're talking about these BRICS nations and the currency war that's going on, and you literally have Saudi Arabia coming out there and telling those guys in Davos, hey, we're ready to sell our oil in alternate currencies to the US dollar. And I'm telling you, the US petrodollar has actually been the thing that has held up the US economy for a very long time. Now that that's off the table, and on top of that, Saudi Arabia has applied to become a partner, a full partner in the BRICS nations, you are seeing splinters happening. Guys, we're getting the tremors. We're getting the tremors. The earthquake is really on the way, and we're going to need a solution, and they know it. This entire fiat system is ready to absolutely collapse, and that's why they're in a big rush to get the ISO 222 messaging standard out there, the central bank digital currency system all developed, and on-demand liquidity. Because guys, they have to solve this Nostro Vostro problem, and they need to solve it fast. So just take a listen to this clip from Chris Larson. I think it's about 50 some seconds, maybe a minute, and then we'll be right back.
Is 10 years out on the financial crisis, we still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. If with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, again, that's what we believe will be the most efficient, you can now reduce trillions and trillions of capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider or as an enterprise without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world.
So guys, just listening to that clip, you can see that there is a potential solution out there. And I'm telling you what, Ripple and their use case solves it, and solves it in a big way. That's why you see the Bank of International Settlements citing Ripple and the potential for XRP and that global on-demand liquidity. That's why you hear the Christine Lagarde of the European Central Bank talk about it when she was head of the IMF. That's why you hear it talked about on the World Economic Forum, because guys, they know that this is a major crisis that they need to solve, and solve quickly. Because when you're talking about a liquidity crisis, what do you need to solve it? You need to have liquidity. What is the quickest and the fastest way to get liquidity back into the marketplace? The ending and the solution for Nostro Vostro. And that's what on-demand liquidity brings. It is the greatest and biggest use case right now. And think about this, guys, too. We're talking about, entire systems. Like, for instance, when Larry Fink says, hey, look, the evolution of these markets is going to be the tokenization of securities. Guys, back in 2020, all the stock markets in the world tallied up to $89.2 trillion worth of value. And the XRP ledger is built in such a way that it can literally envelop all of that liquidity. And then you've got like the derivative markets, what Jim Rickards is talking about there, and the global debt into the quadrillions. Solutions out there, guys, and I think that they know what the solution is, and Ripple is ready to be a big part of it. So guys, I want you to take a look right over here, because I know a lot of folks are going to come out there and say, hey, but how does XRP fit in that picture? Well, guys, this is right off of Ripple's website, and it's talking about the relationship between XRP and their on-demand liquidity solution for Nostro Vostro. It follows that liquidity around the digital asset, XRP, is the lifeblood of Ripple's on-demand liquidity. This is right off their website. For cross-border payments, XRP can be sent directly, quickly and cheaply without needing a central intermediary, making it a convenient instrument in bridging two different currencies quickly and efficiently. As a bridging tool in on-demand liquidity, the greater the liquidity of XRP, the less costs and risk in each transaction. The continued growth of on-demand liquidity has led to an expanding number of financial institutions, payment providers, and market makers to trade in XRP. The resulting increase in institutional trading volume has helped to bring further liquidity to XRP, specifically in on-demand liquidity corridors, in spite of the recent market turbulence surrounding the C thing. You can't say that on YouTube. As ODL volumes grow in destination corridors, institutional trading will naturally increase given on-demand liquidity flows tend to be dominated by institutional parties and market makers. This virtuous cycle of utility, trading, and liquidity continues to build. The more XRP is traded, the more liquid it becomes, solidifying its use in application. Guys, what we're talking about over here, when we're talking about being on the cusp of a global liquidity crisis, I'm telling you, they know it. These economists know it. These major governments around the world employ economists who are geniuses. They can see this coming, and there is a solution. And I genuinely believe that they have been working hand in glove with Ripple to help build the central bank digital currency infrastructure around the world. Remember, they're on the Digital Pound Foundation. They're on the Digital Dollar Foundation. They're helping all kinds of smaller countries around the world also build their central bank digital currencies. CBDCs are ready to be released, and we've moved into this phase of the ISO 222 messaging standard. Now, having said that, Ripple and XRP, not only is XRP a compliant digital asset on the ISO 222 messaging standard, but Ripple is sitting on the board of the ISO 222 messaging standard governance body. That is massive. And guys, I think we can see the handwriting on the wall. And I think the world is going to thank Ripple for having this product available in order to actually rescue the global financial system from absolute implosion when it comes, and we are going to see something major take place. Now, guys, that is my personal opinion, and it's genuinely what I believe, but I'll tell you what, for me, I'm just packing my bags and getting ready to get on that rocket ship, because when it takes off, it is going to the moon. Actually, I think we're going to fly past the moon and smash into Jupiter, and I can't wait to see you there. So guys, let me just talk about our coaching program for a few seconds for those who don't know. With the way this market changes and how fast it changes, it's going to be really important for you to have your plan in place. Now, I remember what it felt like when Judy and I were first getting into this space and how confusing it was. And on top of that, how nerve-wracked we were when we were thinking about, hey, we know how to get in, but how do we get out, and when is the best time? Well, guys, that's what our coaching program is all about. It's where you and I can meet personally one-on-one for 1 hour over Zoom. And during that time, I share with you our personal experience in that last bull run and what enabled Judy and I to achieve some major financial success. I go over the mistakes we made so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. We take a look at your portfolio and we make sure it's balanced towards your goals, and we work together to develop your exit strategy. Along with that, we can even get your assets off an exchange and onto a hardware wallet. Plus, we deliver to you some amazing techniques that are really going to help you in this space. Now, the cost of that is $250, and if that's something that interests you, you write me right there at coaching@thedigitaloutlook.com, and we'll get you all booked in. So guys, this is the video I have for you today, and as always, I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Now, I want to invite you to join the conversation and drop your comments right down there in the comment section. Open it up to the community and start a discussion. Now, many of you know I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, but if you found value in it, if you'd hit that like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And hey, don't forget about hitting the notification notification bell down there because, as you know, things in this space change on the spot. And I actually like to get that information out to you as soon as possible. And on top of that, I don't want you missing out on any of our regularly released videos. Now, if you're one of the thousands of folks who have been watching these videos, but you haven't yet subscribed, would you do the channel a favor and join this community? We'd really love to have you on board. So, in the meantime and in between time, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll catch you in the next one.